Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
What's up, great girlfriends?
Hey, great girlfriends.
Ooh, it's Wednesday, y'all.
It is Wednesday.
It's literally Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Oh, this is fresh off the assembly line Wednesday.
Look, and simple with that, I'm thinking we should have kept that pushing through.
We'll fill the girlfriends in on that. Hey, y'all.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
I'm so super excited. Are we 2 weeks away now?
2 weeks away. Oh my
God. 2 weeks away. You ladies are like flooding in. Everybody's waiting to buy their tickets to the last minute. We see y'all. We cannot wait. We cannot wait to see you.
I know. June 15th through 17th, New York City, powered by Prudential. What Women Want 17. I feel like it's like a big old birthday party. Like, I'm so excited that I don't even know what we're wearing. Do you know what we're wearing, Brandis?
I don't know what we're wearing, Sybil.
Well, I'm sure some amazing designer is going to style us, right?
You should see her face. Don't start with me.
Brandis is responsible for our wardrobe, so if I'm wearing something from Burlington, you know it's because Brandis did not call me with my outfit for the week.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
But my hair.
Anywho,
how was your weekend?
How was your weekend, Sybil?
But wait, my hair is gonna be amazing. I just want to share that.
Oh, your hair is gonna be amazing because Akilah Abrams.
Yes, artistry by Akilah.
Yeah, Akilah's gonna be hooking us up. So thank you, Akilah.
Summer chic, so ready for Diana Ross at Essence Festival. She's gonna think I'm one of her daughters. She's gonna look out at me and just wave her hand like, "Hey, baby."
Oh, Lord. Oh, why do I feel like I need to show up in a fur coat to that concert? And some sequins.
With a belted waist and like a long gold chain.
And some of those shiny stockings.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm telling y'all. Girlfriends, don't mind us. We are like in this whole other zone of I don't know where we are right now. We're in a different space and time, I feel, because we have the conference coming up, then Essence Festival's right after that, and then summer. Like, everyone in New York just officially opened up for summer.
Yes. You know? I came in this morning and the weather was so crappy. So crappy this morning. Yeah. And then it was like the sky said, Brandis is back in New York. Let's get our act together.
Is that what the sky said?
And the skies opened and the sun came out and I was like, yes.
I love how in sync you are with the sky and with the earth and with the sun. I just think that's magical. That is magical. I love it. Because I felt like a similar thing happening on my side of the world, but maybe it wasn't what you felt. It was something a little different. But either way, I'm glad that the sun greeted you and welcomed you home, because I had a beautiful dinner on the deck with the family. Oh, it was so cute.
Nice.
It was so cute. I love them.
Very nice. Did you cook?
No, we're eating leftovers from Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We're on a leftover tip till Friday.
So Sybil, I just told Sybil, one of the great girlfriends in the group, she said that Sybil was an undercover pastor.
Oh, did she just say that Sybil was an undercover pastor? Is that what she said? Let me tell you something. Any opportunity I have to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, I will. I am so all about that ministry life. But I'm not a pulpit girl because, one sentence later, I might slip up. And I have things I'm working on. So, I'm probably not a pulpit chick. But you know what? Anything else? I'm all about Jesus.
I love it. Yeah, she put that in our Facebook group.
That is hilarious. I love it. All right, so let's get it started. Okay, so first of all, if you are not registered for What Women Want, we have some tickets reserved for you. We even have one-day passes for June 16th. Super exciting because if you just want to take in that day of full panels and workshops, you can do so. We have round trip transportation from New York City to Prudential Tower in Newark. It is going to be so amazing. All the food is covered, all the experience is covered. We got really great swag bags. So many amazing women will be there. Our speakers are off the chisane. It's going to be fun. So just make sure you grab your tickets, www.whatwomenwantconference.com. You can get your 3-day pass or you can get your 1-day pass, but either way, get there.
Absolutely. We cannot wait to see you guys.
And we can't forget to thank Prudential. Oh my gosh. Oh, Prudential, thank you so much. Special thanks to Dorinda Walker and the multicultural marketing team over at Prudential for supporting everything that we do and just being just such a force for women around the world.
Absolutely. So, guys, we did a walkthrough. If you are following us on Instagram, I put some of it on Instagram. So we did a walkthrough at the venue, 2 weeks ago? A week ago, maybe?
Yeah, we could.
And so amazing. Their team is absolutely incredible.
They are, and they're so fancy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited.
So this week we're diving into an episode on considering or creating change. And, I was having a conversation, had a bunch of really, really amazing conversations over the Memorial Day weekend. But some of them specifically had me thinking about change. And better yet, had me thinking about what happens when you're stagnant. And why we have to learn how to embrace or pursue change. And just even a little bit deeper, how we have to learn how to embrace the realm of uncertainty. And so if you're on our our mailing list, you're going to get this exciting newsletter this week. But there was this quote that a friend and I were talking about and reading, and it says, "If you don't like how things are, change it. You are not a tree." And I laughed hysterically at first, but then I thought seriously about how many of us act like trees. And we start to plant roots. They could be the healthiest roots or the most unhealthy roots, but we like to root ourselves and get very situated and adjusted and sedentary almost in these places and things in life, whether they be good for us or bad for us. And then when it comes time for us to want to see more, do more, be more, we're afraid because we're so rooted or so attached to things, people, places that we've kind of created loyalty to over time. And it makes us scared to want to embrace anything new. And so, we even go through it with girlfriends. We hear people talking about no new friends. I don't need new friends. Not about need. What about the opportunity that you can add value to someone else's life or that someone else can add value to your life? What about embracing the newness that comes with new relationships? What about that? Or we
Absolutely.
Have people that have been in careers for a very long time and they're not even making what they deserve and they know it. But they're so afraid of what would happen if they leave that job or that position to go into a realm with a company they don't know, with people they don't work with, what's out there, that unknown. And so they just stick it out. They take less than what they deserve because they're afraid of change. Or that big old category of relationships. People got us thinking that there is such a shortage of men that you just need to take what you can get. You just need to take them. So what if he got one tooth? Get that other tooth for that. Go get him a tooth. Get him a bridge. So what if he live with his mama? You can move him into your house. We just got this thing. He don't have a job. He ain't never worked. Oh, that's okay, girl. You got a good job. You can provide. We got some people out here compromising on everything that they've built in their life, every standard, because they're so afraid of the unknown. Or they're settling for whatever these really reckless dudes have to offer because they're scared of change.
Right.
And so it's a real challenge because I feel like, if we look through history from the beginning of time to where we are now, there was one consistent.
That's so true.
And that was change.
That's so true.
Like there was consistently an evolution. There was consistently, someone pioneering, consistently people changing the game, opening their mouths, lifting their voices, deciding to say no, deciding to say yes, taking cliff jumps, doing the extraordinary, stepping outside of the box in order to progress society. And so there has been one constant, and that has been change.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. Yep. Even with the days, with time, there comes change. There are no 2 days that are the same in the world ever.
Right.
You will never get this day again.
Right.
It will never have the same day. You'll never have the same day.
And the one thing that we really have to embrace about change is changing ourselves.
Yes.
And I think we constantly change, but sometimes it's hard for us to, put our arms around that change. We know something about us is changing, but that feels uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the things around us really don't fit with the change that's going on in us.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have to adjust and readjust or move ourselves out of some situations and move ourselves into other situations. React to people differently than we've ever reacted to them before.
Right.
Sometimes people are used to getting the same response from you. They've gotten the same response from you for the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. But then you start to change.
Yes,
and they don't get the same response. Mm-hmm. And when people don't get the same response, they act real crazy. Right. So it's like the biggest thing to me that changes is us. And sometimes we're so committed to that person that we were at 25.
Absolutely.
Or that person that we were at 21, or that person that we were at 30, or that person that we were before we had a child, or that person that we were before we got married, or whatever it is. Like sometimes we're so committed to that person and we don't release and just let ourselves go with the flow and change how we need to change, say no to some things and some situations, and just adjust.
Absolutely. And when I think about all of the things that have been great in my life, I want to stop and just acknowledge how blessed I really am. I mean, I'm not trying to boast. I really am celebrating. I am abundantly blessed. I'm abundantly blessed. Because I recognize all of the God presence in my life. I see it, I feel it, I experience it, I embrace it. But all of it came from me changing the things that I did not like. It came from me recognizing that something new was due unto me, that I deserved a better season, a greater season, or that God was taking me somewhere and I needed to follow his lead. Or better yet, my perspective mattered and I need to contribute it in a fresh way. Doing something different than what I had done before. That I understood that my thought leadership matters to the world, so I need to position it differently. Or that my body has become more sacrificial. Now I'm nursing, not now, but at that times that I was nursing, that I needed to devote time and space to being that person, that woman that you talked about. But everything good and great in my life has come from that, from the idea that change was upon me, and I said yes to it.
Absolutely.
And what you're talking about is so valuable because sometimes change is at our door. Sometimes we feel it. Sometimes it's knocking. The wind is blowing. People are observing it. And we get so scared that we shut the door, close the blinds, and we retreat. And that goes back to shrinking a bit because we keep telling ourselves, somehow it's a disqualifier. We're so good at disqualifying ourselves. I really wish we could get better at qualifying ourselves. But somehow we withdraw ourselves from the idea that we deserve the better or the best or the greater or the greatest that's out there. And instead, we'll just take what's before us and just make do.
Here's what's so funny about that. So I'm having like one of those moments now in my life where I feel like God is like a wind behind my back, pushing me out my little corner. And my corner is cozy and safe, and I love my little corner, and I can do my thing and make an impact, but not be, fully out front. and I feel this win. And I had this conversation today with someone, and they talked about how they thought I could contribute to LA of all places.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, and I got off that phone call and I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that God is shifting me fast and that there's a change coming. And it feels so incredibly uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because you guys know I like my little cozy corner. It's amazing. But I'm being pushed out of it and I
Mm-hmm.
feel it and I know it. And there's a lot of people who are counting on me to not retreat and not shrink. And there's I feel like in a lot of ways like history is waiting on me.
Absolutely.
So I get it. We get it.
Yeah.
we get the uncomfortable feeling, but if we don't step out, if we don't do something that makes us feel very uncomfortable, if we don't put ourselves in position to be, sometimes the reason we don't like to take big steps, Sybil, is because you put yourself in a position to be criticized or to be ridiculed, or what if things don't go right? Then the kind of higher you go, the what is it, the harder to fall, I guess. And so instead of going as high as we can go, we would rather decide or dictate what great is for us, right? So God has greater for us, but we say, I'm comfortable within this level of great right here.
Yeah.
And then he comes to us with his definition of great, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, no, God, I told you, this is my corner. Keep it nice and safe. Thank you very much. Yeah. Y'all that other stuff? No, God. Yeah, that's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do. So let's look at this. If we say, what saying no to change equals? Saying no to change to me equals saying no to God. That equals me saying no to the source, the creator, the creative insides of me, the abundance on the inside of me. Because that's what I'm saying no to, the God in me. I'm saying no. I'm cutting off vision. I'm cutting off possibility. I'm cutting off, like you say, the greatness and the infinite in my life. I'm capping all of that when I say no to change.
Right.
What do you say
Absolutely.
no to change equals?
I think when I say no to change, immediately what I think of is that I'm cutting off opportunities for all these people behind me.
Yeah.
So the moment I say no to change, it's not just my opportunity that I'm limiting, but I'm limiting all of these other things that could happen in other people's lives because I'm not willing to embrace change.
Right. Yeah. And I think when we say no to change, we're saying no to promises. We're saying no to to each other, to community. We're saying no to our connection. We're saying no because we're making it all about ourselves.
Yeah.
Not about anyone else. And I know for a fact, when I look back over, the life of my parents and all of our predecessors, they had to say yes to change in order to open doors for us, for the community, for the ecosystem, for the larger world, so that we could have the promises we have now.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that, we talked about like the prayers that we pray, right? And really, when we say no to change, we're really saying that we want control.
Absolutely.
And, because we pray for blessings over our lives. We pray. We want blessings over our lives. Some of us have parents who are praying for blessings over our lives. Some of us have grandparents who prayed or great-grandparents who prayed for generations down the line for blessings over our lives. And so when change is in front of us and we know we need to change, but we decide not to, we're saying that, no, I want control. Like I'm not interested, God, in what you want for my life. I have decided to take this wheel and I have decided to be in control. And once again, not saying that I don't understand what you're feeling, because it is scary and it causes a little bit of anxiety when you don't know. like what the next step is, and when you don't know what the next step will bring, or when you don't kind of understand like how this one thing will affect that thing. And if you're someone who is a type A person, or you're super analytical and you need to know A, B, C, D, it can really, really be tough. But the challenge with that is, we live these very safe lives with no element of uncertainty. And so we never truly get to see what our lives can become. And we not only cut off our blessings, but we don't understand kind of, again, how that change impacts other people who are coming behind you and people that you don't even know that you're supposed to impact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of the things that we have to recognize as humans is that, and it goes back to that belief episode that we just had last week, is that when we apply our belief and our faith behind anything that we do, the principle of change will be an inevitable result, or it'll be so visible in what we see, because there's so much that comes in an answer from God that is outside of our touch. Even Brandis, we're sitting here today in a position that we did not, I can say I did not imagine sitting here in a podcast, in a business relationship with you 9 years ago. I knew that we would be close and that we would have a really great friendship, but I hadn't imagined the other parts of change that God had available to us.
I didn't imagine it at all.
It was beyond me.
Yep.
And so, but in my belief that there was some great pieces to our relationship that we were willing to explore, here we are. Now, if we had stayed like trees and said, no, that's my brunch buddy, and that's it. You know what I mean? There would be places, even in HFR, where I couldn't have been able to support you because we would have had limits on what we were able to see in each other.
That's so true.
And you hear about this in relationships so many times. People say, well, I met so-and-so at work and we were just friends. And then, we went out to lunch and then we went on a date. And then next thing you know, years later, whatever, we're married, because they open themselves up to the idea that, any belief I put behind, any place where I apply belief and faith into my relationships and allow myself to consider myself adventurous or open to the unknown, change falls upon me. And what that change will be for me is whatever God has in store if I allow it. But if I say no to change, I cut off all of that possibility. I mean, I think about Walt Disney's mind map. And if you're listening to this and you've never seen Walt Disney's mind map, it will blow your mind to see what Walt Disney envisioned before Disney World was built. And when I'm working with a brand or a client, I like to reference his mind map because the extraordinary was all within his imagination. It was nothing that was visible to it. Like, there's no other place like Disney World on earth. And it was not even, there was no reference point for him. It was all within the realm of his imagination. He knew that there was something that he could create that would be different. And,
absolutely.
And that evolution or that belief applied allowed him to change the trajectory, of amusement parks or entertainment, period.
When you were talking, something like literally came up in me, and I thought, part of change that we don't like is vulnerability. When you talked about in relationships, right? Because some people are in relationships or in marriages, and even in that situation, vulnerability can sometimes be tough, right?
Absolutely.
And, because you've got like all these past experiences that you're bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in those situations, God is calling on you to change. And sometimes you're like, no, you need to change.
Yeah.
Right? like that's when you change, I'll change.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that situation is just calling on us to make a change, right? On us to be the change in that situation, and to and for that to shape our characters.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, and that and our change shouldn't be dependent on, even with our mothers sometimes, or tough relationships with our grandparents or whatever it is. We're waiting on them to change, where your grandmother's probably not going to change.
Yeah.
So in that situation, you have an opportunity to change.
Yeah.
And you can just say, you know what? I feel like, God is calling me to change in this situation, but it's going to be tough because it's going to require vulnerability. You have to put yourself in a position to be hurt, but then it's also going to be basically shaping and molding something else inside of you.
I know, that's so good, because when I think about that, Brandis, I don't want to hold on to my imperfections, even if I'm so used to these certain imperfections, the ones that I own, and I say, well, that's the ones that,
we have those.
Yeah, we have our short list of the ones that we can acknowledge, own, and embrace. Well, I'm not a morning person, or I'm not this, or girl, I don't do that. We have that list. But I don't want to be the person that holds on to these things because they make me comfortable, and then I never get to see what life is like when I let them go. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person. I don't want to say, you know this about me, Brandis. Brandis and I have been in a relationship as friends, to be clear, for anyone who's new to this podcast. We are friends. We are friends, and we're both happily married. Okay. Brandis and I have been friends for 9 years, and all of our friendship, Brandis has been an AM person. She loves to be up bright and early with the sun and the birds and all this stuff. I have, birthed 2 kids who have had me up in the middle of the night. I still have not become like this AM chick, right? And it used to annoy me, like, for years. And even got to a point, Brandis, I remember you said to me, you were like, what if you're just not a morning person? And I was like, no, I need to be an every hour person, because I want to be available to God. I don't want to shut off and say, well, I'm not a morning person, and God has some great things in store for me in the morning that I can't get my butt up to experience. So I can't be like that. And so it has been a true war for me, because I wanted to win my mornings. And sure enough, earlier this year, I started to really gain control over that. But I realized for all of these years, it's been something that I battled, that I decided I'm not going to. I want to be a 24-hour person. Whatever hour that I'm called on, I want to be prepared. And so I had to let go of the idea that the mornings were not for me. And
let me tell you guys, Sybil hit me with we used to meet every morning at 9 a.m. I don't know what happened, but Sybil hit me with can we talk at 7 a.m.? And I was like, is she really serious? Is she serious?
It was God. It was God.
And we've been doing it. I actually love that hour for us.
It's a good hour.
It's a great hour. So we actually meet every morning, great girlfriends, at 7 a.m.
I didn't know 7 was a good hour, child. And now I'm excited about it.
It's much better hour. I love that hour for us.
It's a good hour. And I think, the biggest part about 7, some people are going, I'm at work at 7, and I salute them. I think that's fantastic. I'm not. So 7 for me is an early hour, because I typically go to bed late. But my life was calling me to change. Change was at my door. Change was saying to me, if you keep these habits up, 1, you're going to have dark circles under your eyes. So from an aesthetic standpoint, you're not going to be happy. 2, you're missing out on some of the best parts of the day, because God really has been showing up for me early in the morning, stuff that I would have been missing. 3, I will not have the adaptability that I need to travel around the world. If I'm always devoted to one set time a day, then I'll be lagged, and I won't have the energy. I won't have the stamina to live the life that I'm living right now. So change was calling on me to make the adjustments, and it was up to me to say yes.
I love that. So everyone who's listening to this podcast need to ask yourself, what is change calling on from you?
Yes. There's something that change is asking of you. It's not, people in your life. It's not the job. It's just you feel the wind of change. You feel it. Like Brandis said, that God pushed behind her, that wind behind her. You feel it. And it's like that inner, push in your spirit that says there's more, or have you considered, or how about this? Or why don't you do blah, blah, blah. But change is calling for something new in your life.
Absolutely. Change is calling me to wake my butt up and work out.
Amen.
I have been so bad for like the past few months. And change is calling on it, and it's calling on me to eat better. I actually made me out a meal plan for the next week and went grocery shopping today.
Nice.
And it really is calling on me to get my health and fitness in tip top shape.
Yeah. That's so good. And so you want to take your time, girlfriends. Pen and paper. Well, by now you should already had it, but
right.
If you didn't have it, that's okay because you can rewind. But grab your pen and paper and ask yourself, what are the areas in your life that deserve change? And I want you to really think about it from a place of where you are versus where you want to be. And there's a bridge. There's a number of actions. There's a series of things that you need to accomplish that are going to take you from where you are to where you want to be. It's so simple. It's the easiest way for you to be able to see how close you really are to the vision or the life you desire. But it's going to require some changes. And you need to be able to look at that. What are the areas that deserve change? So you have to think for a moment on the areas of your life that don't look like what you imagine and that need some attention. Just they need to be dusted off, exfoliated, moisturized.
Yes. Yes.
But they need attention. You
just made me think of something, but I don't know if it's appropriate to say on the podcast. But yes.
You gotta text me later. But there's some area. There may be more than one area.
Yes.
But then you need to make a list of that. It could be a short list. If you have the time, make the long list. Write your desired change next to it. For me, I'm with Brandis on this whole workout commitment. If I could get my set regimen down and find my fitness, as Ty Beauchamp was saying in her Insta story today, about finding your fitness. If I can find my fitness, then I can locate the time and dedication that I have towards it. But what are your changes, short or long? Your desired change. And then I love the last thing. The next column, write who's responsible for it.
Ooh.
Who's responsible for creating these changes in your life? Because we like to think that there's this outside body of people.
Right.
This governing committee. And some of us are still tying the responsibility of changing our life to our parents. We have not adjusted to the fact that we are officially adulting and that we are responsible for these changes. So who's the owner? Who needs to own these changes? Who's the person that is responsible for creating lasting change across all of these action items?
So, Great Girlfriends, Sybil will be at the Great Girlfriends conference, what Women Want conference, and you guys, I'm giving you full permission to walk up to her, smack her on the hand.
Smack me on the hand. I'm like, what is this smack happening? But seriously, who's the owner? Who's responsible for your life and the changes that take place? And who's the person that's governing that? Who's the owner?
Wow.
And then what are the action items? You just need 3 action items. I can think of 3 action items today that will shut down this habit I've picked up of sugar, of soda, of snacks and desserts. I know 3 items right now that would change the game for me.
Absolutely.
But what are those things?
Yeah.
Write them down.
That's so good, Sid. That's so good.
And that's it. And then when you do that, you start looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, the only reason I haven't embraced change in these areas is because I haven't taken the time to take responsibility or ownership over, these areas of my life. I'm passing these off to something or someone else or some inevitable force of change.
We sure do. We pass it off all the time.
Pass it off. Some of us are waiting to be laid off before we decide that we need a new job. We just waiting on them to come knocking. So we be like,
and they haven't come, and you've been waiting on it for the last 10 years.
When you already know that you were due for a better job, more money, more benefits, more positioning.
And the reason you haven't been laid off is because you're so dope.
Because you're so dope. They not gonna let you go. You're too good to be true. We got this dope chick working for $2 an hour. Come on. I'm not gonna let her go.
Right. Exactly. Yes. I love it.
So that's it. That's it.
Oh, this is so good. Girlfriends, I know if you're like me, you're feeling convicted. right now. You need to pass this podcast, share this podcast with someone who you know needs to hear it, for sure.
Yes.
And you guys gave us so much great feedback last week on our episode on belief.
Yes, thank you so much.
So we're ready to get that kind of feedback again. You have to let us know.
Yes, and take your feedback to the streets. Go ahead and drop those on iTunes and give us a review.
We haven't asked for any iTunes reviews in a long time.
We have not been asking for iTunes reviews, but we have not taken you off the hook. We really need those iTunes reviews because they help us know how we're doing. They help iTunes know how we're doing. They help other great girlfriends who are looking for really amazing podcasts know how we're doing. It's kind of like that Yelp review that you write. Give us an iTunes review.
Right. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you, Kwaku. Kwaku, oof. I just love that man.
Kwaku has started a new business.
Kwaku has expanded into the realm of life coaching.
I love it.
He is now a certified strategic intervention coach, and all that kitchen table wisdom that I get and that everybody gets when they come over,
they got to pay for it.
They have to pay for it now. It is now available to the public. It's now fully available. And thank you so much. I just want to say this publicly to Tony Robbins for being such a catalyst for change for our family, period, but really reminding Kwaku of what was on the inside of him and pushing him to pursue the certification.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Let me tell you how dope it is to have Tony Robbins as a mentor.
It's pretty dope.
That's pretty darn dope. That's pretty
awesome.
Dope. And I want to thank my hubby, Rich Daniel. We just got back from an amazing vacation. And now I feel like I'm
romantic and stuff.
Oh, no. We need a vacation from our vacation.
Oh, my gosh. I wonder if you guys are pregnant.
We're not pregnant, Sybil.
You don't know for sure.
We're not. I'm telling you we're not.
All right.
I'm going to give you some warning.
Yeah, right.
After September, I can't say.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm saying this on the podcast. Great girlfriend, you better not go tell anybody this.
Yes, I thank you, Sam and Dylan, so much for being the best children on the planet. Oh my gosh, I could eat them up.
I know it. Thank you, Miss Sky. Oh, Sybil. She's decided to be on the host committee everywhere she goes. Hey. I just say hey to like 30 people at the grocery store today.
Yay. That's a Southern girl. That's what we do.
I'm like, Lord.
Yay. This is good.
Oh, my goodness. And we thank you to all our family, our mom and dad and sisters and brothers, nieces and nephews. Thank you guys so much. And we thank all of you great girlfriends for trusting us as your go-to source for all things life, love, and laughter.
Yes, make sure that you follow us or connect with us on social. We're on Instagram.
The Great Girlfriends.
We're on Facebook.
The Great Girlfriends.
We're on Twitter.
_Great GFS.
And we have a Facebook group of over 16,000 women at The Great Girlfriends. And make sure you are listening every week on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, Podcast Bean, Blueberry, and every other podcasting service. Make sure you post your questions online. You share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
I'm Brandis.
And we're signing off.
Bye, guys.
Bye.